Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Oh, good morning to you on this Sunday, looking live over our gorgeous Charm City. It's 10:30 a.m. and we are starting off your work week on the right foot. It's March 3rd. I'm Taylor Stewart, and we're in for some sunshine today. Meteorologist Amy Aronson. It only really gets better throughout the day.
Exactly. Already much improved from this morning, Taylor. We're already in the mid and upper 50s now, so that feels better than it did yesterday. And these numbers are going to continue to climb. So I think we're headed well into the mid 60s this afternoon. Perfect reason to get outside and enjoy some fresh air. We've got some sunshine ahead of us with temperatures in the mid 60s by day's end. Now, tomorrow's going to look similar to this, but then after that, I am tracking a series of weather makers. So that's going to lead us into a pretty unsettled weather pattern this week. Lots of days of rain. I've got an updated look at exactly how much rain we're expecting by week's end in just over 10 minutes. Taylor?
All right, a series of...
There is no amendment to this bill that would satisfy that for me.
This time, we need to take it seriously. We need to make sure and hold accountable our law enforcement officers and make sure that they do what they are supposed to do righteously.
Since the implementation of the Juvenile Justice Reform Act, less than 2 years later, we are willing to roll back all of the advances that we made.
Now to your session 2024 coverage. New juvenile crime laws are one step closer to reality after House Bill 814 passed in the House on Friday. Now, the Senate's set to vote on this measure come tomorrow. After that, lawmakers from both houses will have a chance to negotiate a final version. As it stands, the House version calls for the creation of a commission to gather more data on juvenile crime. It also extends probation and involves state attorneys earlier in the charging process. It expands the jurisdiction of the Department of Juvenile Services to open the door for kids who commit certain crimes between the ages of 10 and 12 years old to come in contact with the department for diversionary services. It does exclude a provision, though, for kids who steal cars or caught with a gun for the first time. They would face juvenile charges.
It would be the opportunity for the child to go through a diversion program. If they came back with another charge for car theft, then they would be subject to juvenile jurisdiction.
These diversionary programs, though, are not in place everywhere, which is raising concern about the reality of implementing the plan.
Does the bill address any funding for diversion programs?
So we don't usually deal with funding, but that is an issue that certainly is part of the budgetary process.
One state attorney Fox 45 News spoke with raised concerns with this early proposal about DJS. They say they just do not have enough resources to accommodate the plan.
No one is offended by giving young people treatment, but DJS doesn't have the resources nor the programs, and instead of holding children accountable for, in many instances, increasingly violent crime, we're putting them into a system that cannot deal with the numbers of children that are being forwarded to them for treatment.
Now, the House version isn't the only bill with its share of sticking points. There are three main concerns with both versions of this juvenile crime package. Now, when it comes to the House version, though, critics say it's too soft on young children who steal cars. They argue kids ages 10 to 12 who steal a car should go right to DJS. As for the Senate version, there are similar concerns over filing what's called a SINS petition. It's the first time a child between the ages of 10 or 12 steals a car. We'll get into that more ahead. But both of these bills call to extend probation for young people in some cases. But some point to Juvenile Secretary Vincent Schiraldi. He has spoken in favor of ending probation altogether. Schiraldi has not indicated a change on his position. Fox 45 News reached out to the Secretary's office to ask whether he supports this legislation. We are still waiting on a direct response. As the debate over juvenile crime and how to deal with it continues in Annapolis, some lawmakers are pointing the finger right back at police. A former law enforcement officer is pointing the finger back at them, calling out lawmakers, saying the current juvenile crime crisis is on their hands. Fox 45's Vincent Hill has the story.
As the back and forth continues in Annapolis.
This bill
is a pretty fair attempt to do both.
All of our kids are going to be impacted by this, but especially Black and Latino kids.
Here in Baltimore, a lot of the politicians just kind of put their finger in the air to see which way the wind was blowing. And now you have all this juvenile crime.
Former lawman Johnny Hughes says it's those same politicians responsible for the current state of juvenile crime after supporting changes to the juvenile laws 2 years ago.
Unfortunately, a lot of the politicians went along with this, and they've taken the rights away from the police officers.
One of those rights, the Child Interrogation Act.
A police officer cannot interrogate a juvenile unless, he's taken before the juvenile authorities or taken home to his parents.
But so far this session, talks of change to that law have gotten little traction.
The Legislative Black Caucus last year in the Maryland General Assembly passed really important foundational legislation to make sure that children in our communities are not interrogated without their constitutional rights of being able to ensure that they have access to an attorney.
Hughes says lawmakers are still not being serious when it comes to juvenile crime.
They want the police to do their job, but they handcuff the police so they cannot do their job. And I think they coddle a lot of these criminals, especially these young juvenile criminals.
Meanwhile, talks of change when it comes to young people and stolen cars.
It's not perfect for me. It's not perfect for a lot of others here.
I cannot in good conscience support this.
New legislation from the Senate could require children 10 to 12 to go through a sense petition, a child in need of supervision, if they steal a car. But Hughes says the program is only a Band-Aid to a gaping wound.
And they get a cupcake or a lollipop and a slap on the wrist, and then they're back out carjacking again or committing these nefarious crimes.
And while lawmakers work to tweak the current laws, Hughes says the best solution is to start all over.
The pendulum's got to swing back because years ago you never had all these homicides and carjackings.
Well, that brings us to our question of the day. Will the juvenile crime bills make a difference in the crime crisis? So far, 96% of those who have voted say no. You can head to foxbaltimore.com/vote and make your voice heard.
The story time and time again from teachers, from parents, from students is that the classroom is completely out of control.
Elsewhere in Annapolis, lawmakers are pushing to decriminalize disruptive behavior in schools. This comes as juvenile violence across the state is continuing to rise. House Bill 615 and Senate Bill 512 would prevent students from being criminally charged for some forms of disruptive classroom behavior. According to the bill, students would even be exempt from penalties for threatening school employees with bodily harm, even if the threat's made on school grounds. Senator Alonzo Washington introduced this bill to address the school-to-prison pipeline and racial disparities. He points out it doesn't prevent a child from being charged with breaking the law on school grounds.
What it is to ensure that students are not arrested for simple disciplinary matters. You guys are going around saying that it's anti-teacher. This is about ensuring that our classrooms are safe and that students have the ability to learn in their classroom and not be sent out for just purely disruptions.
Some lawmakers worry it may make teachers' jobs harder and less safe and could put students at risk.
Inside the classroom, I've not heard one teacher who says this bill is the way to go.
My concern is with if you remove this tool from the toolbox, that there's more likely to be escalation where you have other students in the class could potentially get injured or harmed because of an escalation if this is taken out of the toolbox.
Fox 45 News has been keeping you up to date with everything happening in Annapolis this entire session. For a full list of our stories, head to foxbaltimore.com and you can check out everything that's happened throughout this coverage here. Well, car theft, it continues to surge throughout the state. What Maryland police are doing to help you keep your vehicle.
And here's a look at our rain chances for the week. Enjoy the next 2 days because after that, shower chances increase. Highest chances coming Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. We'll talk more about the timeline of the rain and how much we're expecting in the week ahead in a couple of minutes. It's 10:39. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
All right, let's take a look at some of the things happening in our region today. This is for you if you've got a Hyundai or a Kia. Until 9 o'clock this evening, you are urged to go and grab a steering wheel lock by any of the Maryland State Police blocks in the state. You can get a free lock today. All you have to do is bring your license and your registration. Go ahead and check the Maryland State Police website to find the location nearest you. Oh, and lovebirds, wedding season, it's arrived. At 12:30 this afternoon, go ahead, check out the Wedding Expo at Maryland Live Casino and Hotel. You'll have a chance to meet face-to-face with some of the top wedding professionals in the DMV. Ladies, grab him. At 3 o'clock this afternoon, the Baltimore Catholic League Championship basketball game takes place at Gosher College. Number 4, Spalding, takes on number 2, St. Francis. Tickets are still available online if you haven't already bought yours. You feel that outside? It's the feeling of spring. It's in our midst and right around the corner. But today we'll see temperatures in the 60s. Meteorologist Amy Aronson is tracking our next chance for some rain, though. That's ahead in her full weather authority forecast. From baseball's #1 overall prospect to AL Rookie of the Year, the sky's the limit for Gunnar Henderson in the 2024 season. The hardware he has on his mind this season, that's just ahead. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. All right, if you don't have your plans laid out for the day, you really should. Meteorologist Amy Aronson. It's really the kind of day you want to make sure you take full advantage of it and get outside because we've got some rain coming our way later this week.
We do. Enjoy the fresh air while you can. Today's the perfect day to go for a hike, maybe play around a golf, or just enjoy some time at the playground. If you plan to do any of these things or anything else outside today, we want to see your pictures. Send them to us, foxbaltimore.com/chime-in, and then we can share them right here on Fox 45. We are looking at a pretty day down in Towson. You'll notice some sun shining down on the area right now, and you'll notice temperatures are responding accordingly. We're warming up. We've got upper 50s and low 60s already on the board here. Inner Harbor enjoying a mild 63 degrees currently. And things look quiet for us. Not the case everywhere. We've got a big storm still moving through the northwest, dumping snowfall there. For us, not the case. We're on the quiet side of things right now with high pressure in control, keeping us nice and dry, at least in the short term. Next 2 days look rain-free. We'll enjoy the low to mid 60s today. The spring preview will actually continue tomorrow, too. We are tracking increasing clouds out ahead of that next weather maker, but at least it's still going to be mild and spring-like with highs well into the 60s. Now let's talk about when the rain returns. I think it's on Tuesday. We see a little disturbance to our south that's going to push northward. So that sends us rain as early as Tuesday. After that, we'll briefly dry things out. But then starting Wednesday, we get another round of showers pushing in. Wednesday becomes very rainy during the afternoon and evening. Showers actually linger through early Thursday. After that, a brief little break will take us through Friday, gives us a chance to regroup. But then here comes our next round, arrives here by next Saturday for the start of next weekend. So here's a look at how much rainfall we're expecting over the course of the entire week. Rough estimates here, but latest updates show just shy of 2 inches in a lot of spots, and that forecast takes us all the way through next Saturday evening. Also next weekend, we're springing forward. So remember, we lose that hour of sleep overnight Saturday into Sunday, but we gain the daylight in the evenings. And that means sun sets nice and late by Sunday evening. And we are looking at drier conditions at that point, too. So I think you'll actually be able to enjoy it with highs headed for the upper 50s by the end of next weekend. Leading up to that, we've got a lot of rain chances. Plan on showers Tuesday and Wednesday. Showers should wrap up early Thursday, and after that, we'll take a brief little pause from the rain. But it looks like more rain makes an appearance early next weekend with some cooler temperatures, too. At least to begin, we'll spend next Saturday in the low 50s with the rain. Taylor?
All right, thanks, Amy.
Welcome into your morning sports report. I'm Rocco DeSangro. Having depth isn't a bad thing, and it's exactly what you're seeing with the O's and the best farm system in all of baseball. From the veterans to the prospects, so much talent. And for general manager Mike Elias, that's a good problem to have when it comes to making decisions. O's taking on the Yankees, Cole Irvin on the mound as he makes his run at a spot in the starting rotation. 3 strong innings from Irvin, 3 hits, 1 walk, no earned, and that's a good thing. Julio Teheran got the first appearance as an Oriole, retires the Yankees in order, getting Kevin Smith to strike out to end the inning. Bottom 5, Austin Hayes going to open up the scoring with a solo homer. 1-0 O's. And then in the 7th, Kyle Stowers with an absolute 2-run bomb as he continues to stay hot this spring. O's beat the Yankees 7-3, the final score. Through 2 spring training starts, Cole Irvin has tossed 5 innings with no earned runs and 3 strikeouts. He's been fantastic. And with John Means unlikely to get any action in Grapefruit League this spring, the O's could look to Irvin to be a significant part of that rotation early on. To NFL's offseason, we're coming up on a big week for the Ravens and defensive lineman Justin Madubuike. The franchise tag deadline, it's Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, and the 2 sides have yet to come to a long-term deal. If that doesn't happen, the Ravens plan to use the tag on Madubuike, which would cost them $22.1 million against their cap. Towson wrapping up the final regular season game with UNC Wilmington, and this game bigger than most, with the winner getting a double bye in next week's conference tournament. Welcome to March. Tigers in a battle late. Towson came into this one averaging just under 12 turnovers per game. Tigers careless with the ball, 19 against the Seahawks. This one leads to points at the other end, and Shaquem Phillips fires up the crowd. Down 6 with 40 to go. Charles Thompson with the big board and the putback. A huge game for Charles, but he would be tossed from the game late after this altercation. Tigers fall 75-64. They get the number 5 seed and face the winner of North Carolina A&T and William and Mary. Talk about an improbable comeback. Loyola taking on Army, down 5 with 17 to go. Jordan Stemke from 3. Buckets, it's a 2-point game. Madness late, down 1. Greyhound steal, Golden DK with the go-ahead bucket as Loyola wins an absolute thriller, 69-68. Loyola women in contention for that Patriot League regular season title. A win would help that cause. Let's check this out. Lex Terrian led the way with 17 and 14 as Loyola goes on to beat Army 55-52. She is a double-double machine. Over at CFG Bank Arena, 2 CIAA championship games going down in the women's game. Fayetteville State beats Elizabeth City State 64-59. 17 points from Kiana McLaughlin got them the win, with Lincoln beating Fayetteville State in the men's game 51-54. The Baltimore Catholic League Championship is now set. Archbishop Spalding beating Mount St. Joe, and St. Francis Academy picking up a win over Mount Carmel to advance to Sunday's title game. Those 2 teams going to square off at Goucher College with tip set for 3 p.m. Top 10 women's lacrosse matchup between number 9 Maryland and 10th ranked Denver. Victoria Hench led the way for the Terps with a hat trick as Maryland moves to 4-1 with the victory. In men's action, Towson playing host to UMBC, and the Retrievers had no answer for Mikey Weischer. Not 1, not 2, but 5 goals in the game as Towson beats UMBC 17-7. In other scores, Johns Hopkins, they pick up a win over Virginia 16-14 in men's action to grab the Doyle Smith Cup, and number 8 Loyola women's lacrosse beats number 25 Penn State 14-10. Chase Boyle tying her career high with 6 goals. So he's Birdland's favorite country boy in the 2023 AL Rookie of the Year. In his first full MLB season, Gunnar Henderson lived up to all the hype and then some. While he hasn't played yet in the spring due to an oblique injury, Henderson's return to the field is on the horizon. He talks about how he's keeping his foot on the gas pedal in 2024, one-on-one.
This year's really putting emphasis on just winning some playoff games and trying to make a World Series push. So I feel like we have a good squad to do that, and looking forward to doing it.
Fans are missing you out there, man. They want to know how the oblique is, how you're doing, and like what your timeline kind of looks like right now, getting back to the field and playing baseball again. Yeah, I'm pretty much full go now, so I'd say within the next couple days, probably sometime next week, should be in games. So. Is it tough for you? You're such a competitor, not being able to be out there right now. I know it's soon. I know it's not the biggest deal in the world, but just sitting back and watching you guys, like how much do you want to be out there right now? Yeah, I mean, I just want to get out there and see some pitching and get ready for the season. Obviously, I mean, it's not fun just sitting there watching all the time, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out there and getting back to some baseball activity. This team accomplished so much last season. I mean, what is this group capable of heading into 2024? The group that you guys have, the returning core coming up, and young players coming up through the ranks as well. Yeah, I feel like we just scratched the surface. We didn't have obviously the run we wanted in playoffs last year, so everybody's coming back with that mentality of we want to just go out there and win each and every game and ultimately make it to the World Series. So everybody has that right mindset, and we're going to continue to go out there and play Oriole baseball and try to bring one home. You were so young when you came up through the ranks, and you were the number 1 overall prospect. Jackson is in a much similar situation than you were. What has impressed you the most about his poise, kind of doing all this, handling all this, the pressure and whatnot? And have you guys had a conversation just about how to handle all that? Yeah, I mean, he's had a good upbringing. I mean, obviously his dad was an incredible baseball player, so he's definitely given him some insight on how to approach it, and it seems like he has a really good head on his shoulders for the situation that he's been put in. So it's really cool to be able to watch, and I know he's going to go out there and be successful. Gunnar, the last thing I got for you, man, off field aside, like on the field aside, like how much fun are you having down here with your guys, being back with your friends, your brothers here? Yeah, it's awesome. The house that we got here, we got 5 of us staying at it, so there's always something going on. So it's pretty cool to be able to just have that to go back to and just kind of chill out and just do some random stuff. So it's pretty fun. We'll get into fishing and just any type of like sports and stuff. We'll just hang out and pretty much just do dude stuff. Who doesn't like doing dude stuff? That's your morning sports report. I'm Rocco DeSangro. Thanks for watching, and have a great Sunday.
Well, you can do a lot of dude stuff outside today. Stick with Fox 45 Morning News after the break. Meteorologist Amy Aronson has her exclusive 7-day forecast and her spring countdown.